Hey guys, so I just got this in the mail, and according to my research, nobody on YouTube, or really the internet, has ever looked at this guy. Like, people have owned it, obviously, there are pictures of it, but I've never seen a video of this figure, not one. I'm doing something I never thought I'd do, which is doing something no one else has ever done. Yeah, that's exciting. I'm reviewing something so rare that no one else on the internet has ever reviewed it. So I'm not sure if that means I should go all out or be really restrained in case this thing magically breaks, which, judging from previous figures of a similar style and their quality, I might just show you the bare minimum of this guy, because if you really want him, you can get him yourself, and then we can both complain about the price together. But yeah, I got the Dragon Quest 1 hero, Erdrick. And that was made out of PVC plastic, so it was pretty delicate. It looked amazing, just like this does, but the plastic quality was unbearably bad. So I'm assuming this is the case, and therefore I shall proceed with the utmost caution. You can see there's loads of great silver and green metallic paint on this, as well as little adornments of amber and blue and gold. So this is intended to represent the main hero of Dragon Quest IV after he's all got his legendary armour. The first two trilogies of the Dragon Quest games revolved around a legendary hero and their armour. There was Erdrick and his armour, and in this there was the legendary hero and the Zenithian armour, which is what he's wearing right now. So I just thought the two figures together would make a great couple. This would be a great companion piece to the other. I'm liking what I see so far. Now the pain comes when I try to handle this guy. I'm very glad that my copy does not seem to be missing any paint. There's got amber here, the gold here. I love the dragon head. You see there's got gold outlines. The eyes are painted red, and there's a blue orb in his mouth. I hope that it's coming across. It probably isn't. See all the silver and the green, super metallic. Because my Erdrick figure came unpainted, or at least underpainted. So, oh, that's terrifying. These are articulated, so I have a chance of breaking these. But yeah, that's a thing. Who's ever heard of an articulated shield on an action figure before? But yeah, this is really nice. This has loads of blue things here, and then another dragon head, which of course somehow they managed to paint the eyes on. Honestly, I would pay what I did for this, or again, just for that kind of painting prowess. That is amazing. But yeah, there is a good to fair chance that I will never touch any of those alternate hands, simply due to the fact that this figure will be unbearable to pose, and I would not want to display him with anything other than him holding his sword and his shield, whereas the other hands wouldn't allow that. You've got two of these kind of bald fists, and they're just in plain plastic. And then you've got two of these displayed open hands in case he wants to do jazz hands. Oh, that's a great sign already. Flip that on quickly. Because it's PVC, it's super soft, so it kind of fights with you if you try to apply any force whatsoever. Once I can get him to stand, I've learnt my lesson with the Erdrick figure, so I'm focusing on those knees, making sure he's leant forward slightly. I'm doing this on carpet, so probably not the best place to... There we go. Cool, and I'll just get this out of the way. I don't know about you, but I think that looks pretty cool. I can already tell the armour is going to be a nightmare to handle because of how ungainly it looks. You can see those pauldrons are massive. I've always loved the kind of, this kind of helm he's had here. It's always been really distinctive, as well as the bright green hair, obviously. The Dragon Quest IV hero always had the most interesting appearance to me. So now begins the arduous process of getting his weapons in his hands without breaking either, and then getting him to stand. So luckily I managed to get everything on without anything breaking. The shoulders fell off a good couple times, but that was actually expected. I'm very happy that the super thin handle that's entirely out of PVC, I'm glad that didn't bend or The plug itself that you use to plug this in is sturdy plastic, but because the actual place you clip it into is really soft, and the plastic you're pushing against is really soft. It just kind of fights. I'm under the impression that he's going to tip over at some point due to the weak joints. Now, while I was messing with this guy trying to get the weapons on his hands, I noticed upon picking him up that his legs are really well articulated, which surprised me. I didn't expect great articulation from anything like this. He's got like a pivot, ankle tilt, which some Transformers don't even have. The knees bend was really good because it's double jointed. Because of the quality of the PVC, you would never want to actually try to get this guy into any poses, and he's not very stable because he hasn't got heels and there's all this armour on him. But it's the thought that counts, I suppose. This guy is pretty fabulous, if I do say so myself. If I looked like this guy when I turned 16, I'd feel pretty damn fabulous too. I think he's 17 actually. I'm not sure. All the Dragon Quest heroes are basically similar ages. I'm pretty sure in Dragon Quest 3 it's your 16th birthday, and then you go on in the span of an unmeasured amount of time, probably like a couple months, to become a fabled hero with like a title and everything. This guy spoke to a sky dragon, then beat this insectoid elf dude, who I would absolutely love. Getting the monster figures is super expensive here, so I've elected to just get the figure on a bottle cap, because for some reason that is a thing. So yeah, I won't have anything to scale, because the figure would have to be at least 2 feet tall to scale with this guy. There are little inarticulate PVC models, about just a little bit smaller than this, I think. Here they're so expensive, despite how cheaply made they are and how cheap they are in Japan and America and things like that. So this figure stands at about 17-18 centimeters tall, or 7 inches, which is pretty decent. In Transformers terms, that'd be like the Voyager class, like a 25-30 quid figure. To be honest, if I had paid 25 to 30 quid for the plastic quality of this figure, I'd be sorely disappointed. But for the rarity of the figure and the painted detail, and just having the representation of a character in a game that is so close to me, and such a niche that I can feel special about, it's quite endearing. Yeah, let's see if we can rotate him without anything falling off or breaking, and we are already on the road to him tipping over because those knees are so weak. But yeah, you can see because it's PVC, all the plastic's super soft, but it does kind of get in the way of each other. It feels more like rubber than plastic. I imagine it must have been a pain in the arse trying to paint all this. You can see how it's kind of warped, but it shifts so easily. Yeah. The camera is not really doing the metallic paint on this thing justice. We'll have to see if I can put some photos on at the end. It's going to be a super pain to articulate because of these shoulder things. I can probably get this, yeah, I can get this arm up. But I'm probably not going to be able to do anything with that shield on because there's so little leeway. It's good they made the clips out of actual plastic as opposed to PVC, because otherwise it'd be in a world of pain, especially for how much you would have to spend for this figure. I think there was like 2 on eBay and I got 1 of them. So if you are interested in this figure, if you somehow managed to stumble upon this video, happy hunting. I hope you don't have to pay as ridiculous prices as I did for this, but judging from the rarity of it, I wouldn't get your hopes up. In fact, they might go up even more now that I've bought one of like, what, 3 in the market. These figures came out around 2012, so you're dealing with the aftermarket of a niche Japanese product. So yeah, good luck with that. Even in the aftermarket, when something isn't niche, the prices skyrocket. So I sympathize with anybody who is interested in this figure. These guys, they're great display pieces, but I would never try moving any of these. When I look at my Erdrick figure, sometimes his stance or a bit of his armor will be the teentiest bit asymmetrical, and I'll try to correct it, and because it's so loose, it will either kind of fall apart or just move too much, make everything else asymmetrical, stuff will fall off, stuff like that. So yeah, they're really just for looking at and admiring. I have my Erdrick figure at the top of a wardrobe at the corner of the back of my room, and when I enter the room, you can see that thing shining from ages away. It is a spectacle, and this thing is much like that. You could say the colours are a little bit more muted because it's not garish blue and he hasn't got the red cape, but I still think this guy looks awesome with the green and the silver and the sword and the shield. The swords and the shields are always super fantastical in a fantasy game, obviously, especially in a JRPG. They would never like really have any practical use. I suppose you could vaguely use this as a spiked pervice in role-playing, because it's got spikes on the shield and on the corners. I imagine that would just be a hazard, because you can see that get in your armor and pierce your shoulder up. The sword, if this was made out of like any real-life metal, that hilt would throw the weight distribution way off, and this would just make it way harder to cut anything. Suppose you could still thrust with it, but slashing is now out of the question. The reason I'm saying this is because Shadiversity never will, because Dragon Quest is not popular enough to draw his attention, and I don't think he'd care about two swords in some very obscure game. On the other hand, in Japan, it is so big. Here, not so much. But yeah, I like this dude. I think he's pretty cool. I'm super happy with this sword hilt. As you can see, the very end of the pommel has this thin model around it. I'm really happy that they didn't just put that on some really thin struts, because that would have made it so weak. I'm glad that they actually just made the whole thing substantial and just painted the bits that shouldn't be there green. It'll be a lot harder to break, and I know what I'm like. So I really appreciate that. He does have the same kind of gimmick as Whoopsie Daisy. Honestly, that looks kind of cool on its own. He doesn't need pauldrons with that kind of shield. I mean, if he had the same stability issues in real life as he did here, anyone could beat him, but he's 16, he'll learn. I'm not sure what I mentioned because I was interrupted by stuff falling apart. Just like the Erdrick figure, you can take this guy's armor off, but it's kind of pointless because it just has this kind of base blue thing. I can see that they are sharing assets, but the entire base body is the same, and I can tell that because the hands have the same mark in them, where the Erdrick figure had his gauntlets painted, so there would have been blue and gold on Erdrick. As much as I hate to do it, because I know how much of a mess it's going to cause, I'm going to bring Erdrick in. There are the two of them, and I don't think I'm speaking just for myself when I say they look pretty damn awesome. So thank you very much for watching this incredibly obscure and rather badly put together video. If you liked it, like it, and if you subscribed, then you're awesome. So I say bye. The box says bye, the scissors I used to cut them open says bye, and I shall see your bitch ass in the next video.